portable. Now let me take this word, right, and let me discuss these things. Okay, so what exactly the portable means, friends? Now, have you heard this word portable, right? Portability. I think everyone know the portable. Suppose I have the Airtel, right? I have the Airtel network. Airtel network I have, and I want to migrate to the Jio. I want to migrate to the Jio, right? We can call it as a portability, right? Portability service. So we have to opt for that. Whenever I require the portability service, I have to opt for that. I have to, right? I have to do some send some message, and then they will allow me, right, to switch my network from Airtel to Jio, right? So there will be the waiting period also. So that is called as a portability, right? Suppose this is my Airtel network, right? This is Airtel network. I want to port from Airtel to the Jio, right? So some n number of thing I have to do, then I can easily port to from Airtel to Jio. Now, friends, now I will give another example. Suppose let's say this is my Windows machine, friend. Listen carefully. Very interesting. This is my Windows machine and this is my Linux machine, friends. This is my Windows machine and this is my Linux machine. Let's say, right? This is my Windows machine and this is my Linux machine. Now Windows machine, on Windows machine, my Python program is running, right? On Windows machine, my Python program is running, but due to some problems, there are some license compliances, right? In Windows machines, there are some license compliances. I am not able to fulfill these Windows machine license compliances, right? So I think Windows machine is not a open source and it is not a freeware, right? We have to pay for each and everything, right? So there are some license compliances. Due to that license compliances, I'm not able to use the some programming, Python programming, dedicated Python programming on a Windows machine. What I will do, I will migrate this whole Python program, friends. What I will do, I will migrate this whole Python program, or I will shift this Python program to my Linux machine, friends. Where I will shift this Python program on Linux machine, and I can happily install required packages, right? Required packages, because the packages which are required in Linux machine, those are the absolutely free of cost. Okay, because Linux is a open source and freeware, friends. It is a open source and freeware. So that type of thing I can easily do with the Linux, and I can easily migrate my program into the Linux environment. Actually, friend, this is called as the portability, right? That's why Python is very user friendly. That is called as a friend portability. One of the most important feature of the Python, friends. That is a portability feature from Linux, from Windows to the Linux environment. To the Linux environment, you can easily migrate your Python program, right? So this is called as the portability concept. Now let me discuss the next feature. Which is the next feature? Let me copy from here and let me discuss, right? uh, Here is a word, both procedure oriented and object oriented. Friends, we already discussed very brief about what exactly the procedure oriented is and what exactly the uh, object oriented is. Already we discussed, right? I think it is very clear to everyone, right? So let me tell you one thing. The procedure oriented feature means if I want execution line by line, right? That execution is possible by the Python. If I want object oriented features, object oriented feature means what, friends? Creating the object, defining the classes by, and then creating the object and calling the methods. That is called as object oriented features. So object oriented feature is a power of Java, friends. So Java power we are using in Python also. Java is basically object oriented, friends, right? So this object oriented terminology happily we can enjoy with the Python also. And both procedure oriented means line by line execution, functional execution kind of thing we can easily implement in our Python language. So it is one of the most important feature of the Python. That's why Python is mostly preferred, and it is a one of the means user friendly language, friends. And one thing I want to clear here, this procedure oriented feature, I am going to spend about, friends, for the procedure oriented feature, I am going to spend about 2 months here, friends, 2 months here. 2 months here to explain the procedure oriented feature. I'm going to spend the 2 months, and to explain the object oriented feature, again I am going to spend 1.5 months, friend. 1.5 months, friends. 1.5 months I'm going to spend, where it will very clear for you people, right? So this is the feature number 7th of the Python language, friends. Now let me discuss the another feature also, right? Interpreted, friend, it is also one of the most important feature. Let me discuss the interpreted means what, friends. Let me discuss that also, friend. This is the feature number 8, right? Interpreted. Now let me give you some basic example. Suppose if you want to compile, if you want to execute Java code, friends. If you want to execute the Java code, friends, you have to follow the two processes. What is the first process? First you have to compile, friends. First you have to compile Java code, friends. First you have to compile the Java code, and next, second number, you have to execute, right? Friends, direct execution is not possible, friends, for the Java. To execute the Java code, first you have to do compilation and then you can execute. So these two independent activity you have to perform, friends. These activity are independent. You have to perform those activity, then and then you can able to execute the Java code. So it is called as an interpreted language, right? So first you have to compile. So which are the command to compile? The first command to compile is, friends, I wrote here. First command to compile the Java code is javac, right? It is the first command, and your name of your program, friends. Name of your program. For example, your program name is test.java. So this is the first procedure you have to perform, and next you have to write Java test. So these two independent activity you have to perform. Then and then your code get executed. It will give the result. It will give the output. So two activity you have to perform. Now, friends, in case of Python. Now listen carefully. In case of Python, what we have to do to execute the code? Simple, friend. Very simple. You have to just write py test.py. You have to write just py test.py, friends. That's it. And after writing this and after entering, your code will be executed. So it is direct execution, friend. Direct execution. There is a no direct compilation. Yes, there will be the compilation. In Python, there will be the compilation. But the responsibility of the compilation is taken care by Python virtual machine. It is a machine, it is a software of Python language. It will take care the responsibility of compilation, right? So you can directly expect the output from the Python language, right? But in case of right, you can directly expect that from Python language. But in case of Java language, first you have to compile, and then you have to write another command that will be executed for the execution. So this two commands are very compulsory, friends, in case of the Java. But in case of the Python, you have to just write your py and then your program name. Suppose your program is xyz, then xyz.py. Py is an extension of your program, right? So who will take care the responsibility of this compilation? Definitely, when Python language will be executed, Python code will be executed, there will be the compilation, right? But who will take the responsibility of this compilation? Python virtual machine will be take care the responsibility of execution. Friends, that's the difference between these two things, right? So you can expect in only one command you can expect the execution, but in Java you have to do two commands. So let me discuss the next feature. Next feature is, right friends, next feature is a extensible, very important feature, one of the very important feature, right friends, one of the very important feature, that is extensible. Python is a extensible. Now I can say that what exactly the extensible means, friends. Very simple, very simple. With the diagrammatic example I can tell you, right? So let me take one new page so that I can easily tell you, right? Suppose friends, suppose this is your Python program, right friends? This is your Python program, and in this Python program, somewhere, friends, somewhere you required a very fast execution, friends. Somewhere you required, your requirement is very fast execution. Somewhere it is your whole Python program. This black box, whatever the black box, you can see that it is a Python code. Suppose some Python code already I wrote here, friends. Suppose some Python code I wrote here, right? So from this is a Python application, friends, and you want very fast execution from the some part of the Python code. So happily you can implement C language here. Which language? C language. So after implementing the C language, right? After implementing the C language, right, the performance of the Python get improved, right friends? So here I am considering that this part of the program or this part of the application, I can write this part in a C language, and uh, other part will be take care by the Python. That means what, friend? That means extensible. You can use another language code inside the Python also, friends. You can use another language code. You can use you can use you can use other you can use other languages code in Python. In Python. That's why Python is extensible. It is one of the most important feature, friends. You can you can directly write another language code inside the Python also, so that that language features, some language has its own feature, powerful feature. That feature you can happily use. You can use Java inside the Python. You can use C inside the Python, friends. .NET inside the Python, friends. You can also use, friends, you can also use C++ inside the Python, friends. All possible, means number of languages you can directly use the inside the Python. That's why Python is one of the most extensible language. You can extend its functionality, right? You can use the dedicated features of other language. That is called as a extensible. That's why Python is a extensible language, friends. You can use another language code here, right? So it is one of the most important feature. So let me discuss the another feature also. Let me discuss the another feature also. So another feature of the Python is, up to extensible we covered. Now 10th number is embedded. Embedded means what, friends? Now let me discuss this thing also. This thing also. What exactly the embedded is, friends? So embedded means, friends, listen carefully. Embedded means what? Embedded means in another language, right? You can use the another language code inside the Python. Similarly, friends, similarly, I can say that you can suppose this is the Java code, friends. Consider this is the Java code. This is the Java code, friends. This is the Java code. In this Java code, suppose you required some Python language, right? So you can happily implement the Python. You can happily implement the Python inside this Java code. This is the Java code, for example, and inside the Java code you can insert the Python program also, friends. Inside the Java code you can implement the Python code also. That is called as embedding. Similarly, suppose this is your C language code, right? Inside this C language code, you can insert the Python code, friends. You can insert the Python code. So that is called as embedding, friends. That is called as embedding. Embedding means what? using the Python inside the another language, using the Python in another language program directly. That is called as the embedding. So embedding is possible in case of the Python, right? Extensible means what, friends? Extensible means inside the Python language you can use another language code. And what is embedded? Embedded means inside another language code like Java or like C, you can directly use Python language code, friends. That is called as embedded. Okay, embedded. So that is the difference between, right, extensible and embedded, friends. Listen, okay. So take means take this. Don't confuse in these 2 points. Extensible means kya? Extensible means using uh, Python in using Python in another language code, right? Using Python code in another language code, using Python code in another language code, that is called as the extensible, embedded. And what is extensible? You can use other languages inside the Python, that is the extensible. Those do right? This is the difference between 9th and 10th point, embedded and extensible. So let me discuss, friends, next concept, next feature, right? Next feature is then extensive library support, friends. This is the one of the most important feature, friends. It is also the one of the most important feature, right? The name of this feature is extensive library support. Now let me discuss what exactly the extensive library support is, friends. Python is why Python is powerful? Python is powerful because of its libraries. There are the n number of libraries in the Python. N number means I can't have the proper number. Every day one library is introduced. Every day one library is introduced. So there are the n number of library inside the Python. You can directly call those library. You can directly install those library in your system, and you can happily use those library, friends. So these library are like a batteries. Okay, so battery used to power some, right, to power some device. Likewise, Python is powered by the libraries, right? So libraries are there like a battery. It will continuously make the Python more powerful, friends. Different libraries are there, right? So let me give you the simple example. So let me install one library. Now let me tell you, friend, this is my command prompt, friends. This is my command prompt, right? So let me see which are library of the Python present in my system, friends. So there is a command pip list. Pip list means the libraries which are present in my system already. So I just hit enter, and you can see these are the libraries which are present inside my system, friends. This is the CX Oracle. This is related to the Oracle. Suppose I want to connect to the Oracle database using the Python. So happily I should install this library so that Python will be communicated, or Python will be connected with the Oracle. Then if I want to use the website framework or web framework, backend framework, so for that I can easily use this library, Django library. You can see that this is a Django, right? I have to install the Django library of the Python. So these are the number of libraries. One library is already present in my system. Suppose I want to generate the fake data, friends. Suppose I want to generate the fake data. So there is a library faker, right? So how to install this library? Simply type pip. Suppose if you want to install any library, pip install faker. Friends, let's see. Pip install faker. Now you can see that requirement already satisfied. Friends, you can see here requirement is already satisfied because I already installed this library. That's why requirement is already satisfied. You can see that this is the version of this library. So I already installed this library, right, friends? Now how to call this library, friends? Let me show you one basic example, very simple example, so you will be easily understand, right? You will be easily understand. Pip install faker. So This is my Python code, right? So let me write. So the library from, I have to call the library. Library name is Packer. Friends, library name is Packer. Library name is Packer. From Packer, import Packer. Capital Faker. This is the module of this library, friends. This is the module of the library. So suppose I want to generate some different name, address, so I can easily generate from this library. So let me create some object of this library, friends. So I am going to create some object. Don't worry, I will take everything in our upcoming Python session. What I am going to show here, I am going to show here only what exactly the library is and how to call the library. This basic thing I'm going to tell you here. Everything will be covered in upcoming Python session, friend. So don't worry, right? So let me give the example. So let me create the object factgen is equals to name of the lab means name of the module. So I am imported the Faker module, right? So this is a Faker module. Then name. Suppose I want to generate name. Name is equals to. So I have to write this factgen dot inside this library name. One module is present, name, right? One module is present. Name of this is a name. This module is by default present in this module Faker. So let me execute the code. Let me execute the code. Now, friends, let me execute the code. Py test.py test.py. You can see that the name, right? 1 second. What happened? Right. Okay. So I have to print also. Print name. So let me print the name also. I missed that command. Right. You can see the name. David, right? Steven, right? Brittany, Martin, Lisa, Parkins, right? These are the name, right? So already these names are present in this Faker library. This is a Faker library, and this is the one of the module of this library, right? I can also generate some important thing also, means some fake data. Like suppose I want to generate the email. Let's say email I want to generate. So email is equals to again factgen, friends. Again factgen. This is the object which I already created, and email. Email, it is one of the module. Then print email, right? Then print email. So okay. So I did this thing also. Let me execute the code. Right? Let me execute. Now you can see that George enter, this is its email address. Fake data you can easily generate. You can generate address also, friends. Number of thing is possible, friends. Suppose I want to generate the last name. Friend, this is the first name. Let my requirement is the last name. Last name I want to generate. So again, what I will do, I will copy this object here, which I already created, dot last name, okay, and then print last name, okay. Let me check whether it is working or not working, right? Okay, 1 second. Right, it is working. Suppose I want last name. Suppose I want this whole thing number of times. Let's say I just cancelled out this last name. I just consider the email and name, right? Right, friends, let me cut these things and let me use the for loop. For I in range 10. Let me print this 10 times, friends. Let me print all those things 10 times. So print name, print email address, print different, right? I want to print this in 10 times. So cls, you can see output. Everything is printed 10 times, friends. Everything is printed, name and email address. Every time you can expect the different output. So what I want to say, the Python is powered by libraries. It has the n number of libraries. In means in previous session, somewhere we have covered one of the Python's most popular library, that is a random. Suppose I want to generate the OTP, one-time password. You can happily use the random module of the Python, friends. So it is one of the example of the faker module. Likewise, there are the n number of modules are present inside the Python. So I will tell you how to create your own library. That thing also I will tell you, right? So this is just for the understanding, friend. This is just for the understanding. Actually, we are not started at the Python part, friends. We are not started at the Python part. We are just, I'm just giving you some introduction. I am telling you some important feature of the Python only here in this session. In 3 or 4 session, upcoming 2 session, already we have completed the 4th session. Upcoming 2 session, I will talk about the basic of the Python, some important feature of the Python, and then after we will start with the every aspect of the Python, right? So this is the just example purpose I am giving, right? So what I want to say, this is our 11th module, I think 11th feature of the Python, that is it has the extensive library support. Extensive library support, friends, right? So this is, I think it is okay. These features are the okay. So let me talk on other thing also related to the Python, friends. Other things, let's say flavors of the Python. It is a new topic, friends. What are the flavors? Flavors of Python. Flavors of Python. What are the different flavors of the Python, right? So application to application, the flavor of the Python is varies, friends, right? So why flavor of the Python is possible, friends? Let me tell you, because Python is an open source and it is a freeware language. Python is open source and it is freeware, right? So you can easily find the different flavor because it is the open source. Okay, freeware word is important, but open source, because of it is open source, that's why there are the different flavors of the Python, like Linux. Friends, if you consider the Linux is an operating system, so there are the thousands of Linux are possible, thousand plus Linux flavors are possible, friend. But you can't expect 1,000 Windows flavor. There are the very few Windows flavors, friends, right? Very few Windows flavors, right? But if you consider the Linux, you can find the thousands of flavors are there, right? According to requirement, what people will do, they will modify the source code and they will happily create their own operating system, right? So there are the number of Linux flavor. Similarly, there are the Python flavor also, friend. Number of Python flavors are there. So let me tell you first flavor. One simple flavor, one very commonly used flavor is, friends, C Python. C Python. C Python. So you will ask her, where is C Python? So while you install the Python in your system, you can find the that is the first flavor, that is the C Python. So how to install the Python in your system, friends? Just go to the following website, right? Just go to the following website, right? python.org, the official website of the Python. This is a Python website, that the official website of the Python. In the downloads, you can see download for the Windows, right? Because it is a platform independent language. Download for the Windows. Here you can see the version 3.9.6. From this, it is clear that, right, friends, when you click on this, you can start your download, friends. You can start your download. Downloading is started, right? So this flavor is called, friend, whatever the download is started, this flavor is called as a C Python. Default flavor of the Python is called as a C Python, friends. Default default flavor of Python is C Python. C Python. Friends, default flavor of the Python is C Python. So where you will get that feature, right? On downloads, you can easily see the, right? You can easily download this, right? So first flavor is a C Python. So it is, right? It is a basic flavor. Another flavor is, suppose I want to use the Python, I want to use with a Java application. Suppose I want to use the Java application, I want to work with the Java application. So there is a flavor of the Python. Name of that flavor is a Jython. Jython. That is a Jython flavor. Jython or JPython. It is also called as a JPython. Right? It is also called as a JPython because to work, suppose I want to work with friends, to work with Java application. So you must go for the JPython. That is also called as a Jython. Next flavor of the Python is, suppose you want to work with the C sharp applications, right friends, C hash or .NET application if you want to work. So there is another flavor of the Python that is called as a Iron Python. Iron Python is there. Iron Python to work with C sharp or C hash. Some people can say C hash or C sharp. .NET application. Okay, it is meant for C hash or .NET application. So name of that version is a Iron Python, right? This is the Iron Python. Then another flavor is a Ruby Python. Suppose you are working with the Ruby language. Friends, I don't know how Ruby will work, but suppose there is a Ruby language is there. Friends, Ruby language is there. Suppose some people are interested to implement is Python with the Ruby language, or they want to do some activity with the Ruby language with the help of Python. So there is another Python that is called as a Ruby Python. Ruby Python is there. Ruby is a language, friends. So Ruby Python, right? For Ruby application, for Ruby applications. Ruby application. This is mostly used, right? Another thing are there, right? Suppose I am working with nowadays very hot topic and very important, means very big topic, hot topic, I can say Anaconda type Python. Anaconda Python, right? Anaconda Python. What are the today's hot topic or hot technologies? Big data, you can say big data, then machine learning, then data science, right friends? Then Hadoop, right? These are the things, and number of things are there. That's why I've given the ... right? So happily you can go for the Anaconda Python. If you want to work with big data or machine learning or data science, you should have the basic idea of the Python, friends, right? So the name of this version of the Python, the flavor which is used for the big data, machine learning, data science related application, the name is Anaconda Python, friends. The name is a Anaconda Python, friends, right? Suppose your requirement is suppose the one of the biggest drawback, friends, let me tell you, one of biggest drawback of the Python, it is little bit slow, friends. It is little bit slow, but you want to improve the performance of the Python, you want to make the Python more powerful, happily you can go for the PyPy. That is the PyPy. Python is preferred. Whatever the drawback of the Python, that will be covered by using PyPy. Most of the drawback will be covered by PyPy Python, right? After using the PyPy Python, the Python performance improves tremendously, friends. Whatever the performance of the C Python, it will give you the most means it will give. Suppose C Python is less perform, so PyPy is more powerful than C Python. It will give the very good performance. That's why PyPy Python is meant for the performance. meant for performance, right? So if you want performance issue, so you can happily use the py Python. Your performance means your code performance will automatically get improved using this py Python. So friend, these are the possible flavor, but the list is not stop here. List is continue, right? Single lecture is not sufficient to discuss, right? Single lecture is or single session is not essential, right? Means number of flavors are there, right? So few of them I already told you, right? These are the most important features. Whatever I told you, these are the hot topic trending flavors. That's why I covered here, friends. So these are the flavors of Python. Why it is possible? Because the Python is freeware. Python is open source. Open source means you can change its source code and you can happily use the Python. Suppose today, suppose tomorrow, if I want to introduce my Python, right? Suppose I want to introduce my Python. What I will do? I will give my name in front of Python, right? So whatever your name, use your name here, and this is your Python. So that flexibility is provided by the Python, friends. That's why it is a open source language. It is a open source language, friends, right? So these are the very most popular flavors of the Python, friends. So I think it is sufficient for the today's session. Okay. And one point, let me discuss if it is possible. Python version. It is also one of the most important topic. Let me cover that also. It will take 5 minutes or right 5 minutes. It will take Python versions. Let me take this topic also. Python versions, friends. Before discussing the Python version topic, let me tell you the Java versions, friends. Let me tell you the Java versions. Which are the Java versions? So Java versions is 1.0, then 1.1, then 1 point up to the list is continue up to 11, then Java 12 version, then Java I think 14 version, Java 15 version, right? These are the versions of the Java. So whatever the code you wrote in a version number 1.0, same code you can happily use another version also. So whatever the code you wrote in a 11th number version, you can happily use this code in another version also. Suppose you wrote some programming in a version number 1.1, so you can run your code in any of the version, 11 version, 12 version, any of the version you can easily run, right? So this is the one of the most important thing related to the Java, friends. This is the one of the most important thing related to the Java. So let me tell you one example. Your grandparent, your grandfather, your grandfather, right? Your one example I will tell you. Your grandfather is there, friends. Listen carefully. Okay. He built he built he built one house, and right, one house, and so now he gave means by right, this house is now in your name. You can happily this is your house now, right? This is your house now, house now. I'm giving just one lemon example, okay, friends? So your grandfather built one house, and this is now your house because grandfather is not there, right? So definitely this is your house now, right? Is it possible, friends? You have to use either. There are the two options. You can change. You can do some changes, in that house, and you can use this house. But in old house there are the n number of problems. In old house there are the n number of problems. What are the problem? Now today's requirement is different. Today's requirement is different. What is today's requirement? One room for kid. One room for kid is required, right? One room for kid is required. One for one for couple. Huh? One for couple, right? And then one for girlfriend. Okay, this is today's requirement, right? But I think this old house need not fit. This old house not fit to this requirement, friends. Friends, listen carefully. This grandfather house is not giving this requirement. What you have to do? You have to, you have to, what you have to do? You have to destroy old house, right? You have to, what you have to do? You have to destroy old house and you have to make your own house. Then it is possible. Somewhere Java is likewise, right, friends? In Java, only old version. Suppose if you wrote some code in 1.0, so that is outdated. That is outdated terminology. Same 1.0 module you have to implement in 11, 12, 14, 15 versions also. Means what? There is no flexibility. Java people are try to change their suppose Java people try to change their 15 version. 1.0 code will not work there, right? But 1.0 should work. What Java people did? Java people add it is maintain their versions. Suppose they want to create a new version, they have to think n number of times, friends. Suppose Java people wants to create it's their new version, they have to think about the old version also. Suppose this is a Java version 15, they have to think 1.0 up to 1.4 11, 12 and 14 up to, they have to think, friends. Then and then they can easily build a Java 15 version. They can build a Java 15 version, but that is not that easy, friends. That's why Java, it is one of the biggest drawback of the Java. Like this house, your grandfather give you the one house. Now this is your one house, but this feature is not present, right? Same thing happen with the Java. Same thing is happen with the Java. What happened? Java is not able to use the not able to implement the not able to implement most 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 vital features due to that, right? Most important or most vital feature like a data science or like a machine learning, this kind of thing Java is not able to introduce. Why? Because Java people has to take care other version also, friends. They have to take care other version. Due to that, what happen? Suppose old house is there. So if you want to, is it possible to make this kind of thing in old house? One room, one for couple, one for this, one for other. Okay. This type of thing is not possible in the Java. Means this what I mean to say, terminology is very clear. This kind of things are not easily possible. Means these libraries you cannot easily implement inside the Java. That is the problem of Java. But our Python, our Python hero, right? Python hero is very flexible about this, friends. Python is very much flexible. Why it is flexible? Friends, Python 2 point, friends, Python 2.x is very different. Python 2.x, it is not supported, not supportive now, not supportive, right? So 3.x is different. Both are different, friends. 2.x is not supportive, it is outdated. Now Python change according to 221 requirement. But this Java is as it is. There is no more changes you can expect. But Python change according to requirement. But this Java carry old terminology, old mindset, friends. Suppose Java introduced in 1995, I think. That time requirement is very different. That time requirement is very different. Now it's 2021. Now requirements are changes, right? Scenario different, technology is different. Python easily adopted these changes, but Java is not able to adapt those changes, friends, because it is just like an old house. Same structure is there. Suppose Java wants to launch another version, 16 version, Java 16. So he has to think previous version also. He has to think previous version also, right? But in case of Python, Python not think about the previous version. Its own version is different. That's why it will easily accept. It is just like building a new house. Python is just like a building new house and today's requirement to satisfy the today's requirement in this new house. So that is the biggest and most powerful feature of the Python. That's why Python makes more popular, friends. That is the difference between version wise difference between Python and Java, friends. Version wise difference between Python and Java, friends. Very simple to understand. So in olden day, there was the one room in one house and all the family happily live together, right? It is a Java kind of example. But in Python, different rooms are there, right? One room for couple, one room for girlfriend, one room for parents, one room for kids. Everything is there. That's why Python is more popular, right? But Java, old mindset. One room, all the family members live together happily. It is not today's 2021 requirement, friend. It is not possible, right? So 2020 requirement is this, and olden day requirement is this. Old house, one room, all family members live together. That will not work in 2021. That's why Python is more popular here.